alive. Da-na-na-na. I'm going to look for Sophie because we are about to start an Instagram live about our good girl and bad girl creative personas. There she is. And I'm going to send. Yay! Okay.
Oh,
Doot, doot, doot.
we're getting.
Seamless.
Although every time I get on, I'm a little okay. Where do I need to be? Like, am I on the right screen? It's a little bit familiar, but also totally new.
Yes,
So,
I hear you.
yeah,
I love those
oh,
earrings. I feel like I have those earrings and then I lost them.
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like I have them in red, maybe, or were they pink?
I actually bought a pair just like that, and then I don't know where they are.
Yeah,
I've misplaced them.
yeah. I think these are a New York pair, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. I
Love them.
love them. Um,
All right.
so, so to introduce this week's topic, maybe it's just December too, and we're both like, enough, like enough.
Yeah.
Time for the holidays. Um,
I'm ready to
so
crawl into bed.
yeah, yeah, it's time
Mm-hmm.
for just 2 week sleep. Um,
Yes.
so you reached out to me. You're like, what are we talking about? And
Yes.
I talked about this course, this 4 week course that actually both of us are taking
Mm-hmm.
with Kasha Urbaniak. I do not know if that's the right way to pronounce her last name, so I apologize if I'm getting it wrong.
Sounds good.
And it's Good Girl Reform School.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going into the rabbit hole of all these personas and maybe all the ways that we automatically respond. And so those are the lens that I'm looking through everything at. So I said, okay, well, maybe we'll take this lens into creativity and motherhood and just ask ourselves some questions about maybe where we're following some good girl rules on creativity, bringing in our creativity into motherhood,
Mm-hmm.
and what other personas might be doing if the good girl wasn't doing her stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's actually so fun. It's the imagination, right? And asking
Yes.
really questions that bring us past where we are.
Yeah, and
And
past our conditioning, the way we've been
past
conditioned to be.
yeah, and even the awareness of like, oh, that's a behavior that I actually have that is a good girl behavior, and I actually don't agree with that. It's completely not aligned with my values or my desires or whatever.
Yeah.
So for me in this case, and you can add how you perceive it, the good girl creative is the one who believes that she is entitled to her passion, to her building of her business, to her creativity, to her work, to her art, as long as it doesn't interfere at all with all
Mm-hmm.
of her obligations for mother, really to play the mother role, the wife role, and the domestic role to its height, like A+. She's
Yes.
like, as long I get it all, as long as nothing touches the 100% giving of those roles.
Yeah.
So,
I hear
which
it.
is just, uh, even as I say those words, it's like,
I
um,
also want to add in like not only giving to those roles, but then and then not disappointing anyone else, which I think is probably
yes,
one and the same. But to me, there's that
yeah,
I that's the like the thing behind it is not
yeah,
upsetting anyone,
yeah,
not disappointing anyone. I'm showing up fully
that's right.
in my
That,
mommy in my mommy duty.
that's right. Not inconveniencing anyone, not disappointing.
Inconveniencing, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to ask each other a few questions,
Mm-hmm.
and we really haven't thought about this too much, so we actually don't know. So
Off the cuff.
if there's some awkward silences, that's why. Okay, and I want to get I'm going to read what I wrote because words are important. The way we say the words are. Okay, so our first question. Yeah,
And I just want
go
to
ahead.
add that anyone who's watching this, whether obviously if you're watching it live or playing it back, I'm going to invite you to think through how you would answer the questions as well. So
Yeah.
we're going to answer them, but obviously the idea is to prompt you to think about what your good girl is doing, or later on your bad girl, or however we want to call her.
Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So I'll go through the three questions as we're going to do them, and then we'll just start at the top. So
Yeah,
the first
perfect.
question is, my good girl creative blank. So this
Mm-hmm.
is my good girl creative thinks. My good girl creative does. My
Mm-hmm.
good girl creative is. Okay? Thinks, does,
Yeah.
is. Second one. We're going to think of like kind of our persona that is the opposite of the good girl. I'm going to write that. What did I say? Think, does,
Does, is.
yeah. And then what is the opposite of that persona? So for me, I'll probably go with rebel. It could be badass. It could be queen. It could be, what else could it be?
I
Goddess.
mean,
It could be anything
diva.
that, diva. That's right.
Yeah.
Anything that represents the opposite of your
Yeah.
good girl. Then the question is, my rebel creative would. And these are all the same things. Like my rebel creative would do this, or thinks this, or is this, or believes this, right?
Yeah.
And then the third one is really interesting because it plays with being aware of the things that are holding us back, right? The invisible things, either our assumptions, or the ways that we think we're not ready, or the things that we are waiting for in order to. So
Yeah.
I would need blank to let in my case, rebel creative be in charge. So the blank is, I would need something to be.
Hello.
Oh, that was seamless. You have very fast reflexes.
Exactly.
I would need this to be guaranteed. I would need this to. I'm gonna. Oh, you're
About
back.
that.
Okay, so I would
Yeah.
need blank to let my rebel creative be in charge. And like we're just kind of thinking of these questions. And if the wording gets a bit messy, that's all good.
Yes.
Because we know where we want to go, and we're just playing with it because we're
Exactly.
creative. So we're just playing.
I love it.
Okay. So let's start with number one. My good girl creative thinks, does, or is. And I'm going to go first. Okay.
Okay.
My good girl creative thinks that because I'm not making a lot of money, I'm not justified to time and space.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
My good girl creative only works when her children are not around.
Thank you. My good girl creative thinks that I can only bring my work out in a strong way to my family when it's successful.
Okay, thank you. My good girl creative rarely takes from family time on the weekends to do creative non-family activities.
Thank you. My good girl creative has a hard time justifying a financial investment in my business, even though money gets invested in family life all the time.
Thank you. My good girl creative wants everything she does to be successful.
Thank you. My good girl creative plays victim because she plays the victim even though she is upholding her own rules. So she is both victim and enforcer. Yeah.
Thank you. Intriguing. My good girl creative My good girl creative thinks her productivity equals her worth.
Mm. Hmm. Thank you. Um, my good girl, I'm going to say this one again because it feels really strong in this moment. My good girl creative waits for tangible signs of its success in order to, or before she claims hefty time, space, investment, energy, money, priority, etc.
Mm, okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
My good girl creative. Uh, hmm. My good. So if anyone's joined and wants to play along,
yes,
we're starting to list things that the good girl in us, the good creative in us does. And I'm getting stuck on this one.
yeah.
Um,
When we're finished, Joy. We get to decide when
yeah.
we're done.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
tons of things. There's tons in the three or four that I've listed, but I've just gotten stuck. I think my good girl creative will still sacrifice her creative time for my partner's creative time.
Mm, thank you. Um, I'm going to move us on. Does that feel
Okay.
good to move on?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think just like you were saying, there's, we each had about 4 or 5, and the flavors and the tones and the nuances and all the ways those big good girl beliefs show up is really interesting. Like we could
Yeah.
dissect any one of those
Oh, yeah.
and see it in a million variations, right?
Good point.
Uh, yeah, and the good girl creative being the one who actually has huge desire for her art and her passion and her purpose and her life,
hmm
and also keeps it in a cage. Like she's the enforcer, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to choose a word that represents in this moment, knowing that tomorrow something else might turn our fancy.
Yeah.
Um, that represents the opposite persona of our good girl. And
hmm
then the question will be my blank creative would. So if our good girl just took a holiday and into her place stepped our whatever, what would she do
Yes.
as, yeah, standing for our creative? So what's going to be your turn?
I think mine's my queen.
Okay.
hmm
So you've got your creative queen and I've got my
hmm
rebel, your queen creative and I've got my rebel creative.
Yeah.
And let's go. Okay. So my rebel creative would take a whole week off of domestic duties from 9 to 5 and just lock herself in her office and do her work.
Nice. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
My queen creative, just piggybacking off of that, would go away, like travel somewhere else,
Mm.
not leave any instructions or do anything before she goes to make it easier for everyone. And I would take, I don't know how long, let's say a month, to go somewhere and just create.
Mm. Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
My rebel creative would deeply believes that taking time to just think, whether it's lying on my bed, whether it's lying on a couch, whether it's soaking in a hot bath,
I
my
love
rebel
it. Keep
creative
going.
believes so deeply that taking time just to sit and think is as valuable as when my partner is on a meeting.
Yes.
Would protect it to the same extent.
I love it. I'm just soaking. I'm bathing in all of that. Okay, so I want that too. I
Yes.
feel like my queen creative would hang out with your rebel creative.
Yes.
um, no, seriously. So yeah, my queen creative would take up a lot more space and a lot more time and make pronouncements like I am doing this without asking. Just this is what I'm doing.
That one right there
Mm.
queen creative joy is like a whole thing.
Yes, I love it.
Love it. Okay. My rebel creative would talk for hours just about my dreams and just about my ideas. Nothing's happening, no offerings, no tangibles, no dates, just wax on and on and on about all her ideas, all her thoughts, everything she thinks of, every new idea, everything endlessly until people had to tell her, shut up.
Yes, yes. I love it. This is so fun.
So fun. Okay.
I think my queen creative wouldn't care what anyone thinks. So she literally wouldn't, it wouldn't be like, I want to do this. Oh my gosh, what's everyone going to think about it? It would just be, this is what again, this is what I'm doing. But now with the lens of, I'm just walking through the world doing my thing. And however people react or respond or don't respond doesn't matter.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. My rebel creative, so I'm going to bring in my good girl because I want to compare them. So my good girl creative would only not be available during something important like a scheduled call.
Right.
But my rebel creative, when called or obligated to do something, would say, I'm just in the minute of flow right now. I'm just in flow right now. I'm actually just thinking right now. Or, oh, I got a dream for another 45 minutes. I'm not available.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
My queen creative wouldn't work for less than she knows she's worth. So I keep thinking of that Naomi, sorry to interrupt, that Naomi Campbell quote from years and years ago when she said, I don't get out of bed for less than whatever her amount was. And I remember she got slayed for that. And I've been thinking about that a lot recently because I'm like, yes, there's something about that that's my queen wants.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like you might need to get that on a t-shirt.
Yes.
Or get it printed out on your wall.
Yes. Oh, I like that.
Right? Whenever your good girl creative is like, Joy, you're asking too much. You got to work your way up the ladder.
Exactly. Yeah, I like it.
Yes, I love that. My rebel creative knows that, how can I put this? She doesn't tie her right to demand outrageous investment in money, time, and space to whether she's making a fucking dime.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my queen creative values, I love the word repose. So she understands, it's my Black Lady of Leisure. It's this idea of her leisure, her rest, her like reclining as, if not more important than anything productive, any doing activity that she should be doing.
I love that. I love that. And I'm going to jump off on that by saying, my rebel creative will take a day off after I've done a program because I'm tired and I deserve a day off. Maybe it's the weekend, maybe it's the week. I've worked hard. Maybe it's just an hour class that I've done, but now I get my rest.
Yes. Yes. I'm with you. My queen creative. Yeah, I think my queen creative doesn't see some of the household duties that my good girl creative sees as part of her job as her job.
Beautiful. Okay. This is like so fun. Okay.
Yeah, it's like catnip. Can't stop.
Yeah. Can't stop. We'll be here 3 days from now. We'll be on like hour 72. Um, my my representative would see everything from everything that takes on a domestic duty as a business investment. So she would say, yes, we'll get in cleaners more often. Yes, we'll get a chef and we'll pay for prepaid meals 5 days a week because I'm not doing dinner because I'm creating. So
Yes.
she just sees full license, full outrageous license to design her life in order to support her art, not, you know, try to squeeze her art in. She's like, everything in my life will be designed to support my art, to support my work. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Ah, I love it. I mean, I think mine would be a piggyback off of that, which is this,
Yeah.
my queen creative would be fully staffed up, like whatever
Yeah.
support she needs to create and, like you say, pursue her art. She would have. She wouldn't be trying to do everything herself.
Yes. 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 Okay. So yummy. Um, so enjoyable. Okay. Let's go on to the third question because I think
Yep.
this is going to be really fun too. All of the questions have their own energy, right? Did you feel our energy just so pick up when we got?
Totally.
Okay.
It was like I said, it was like, oh, I love this. I can't
Yeah.
stop this
Yeah.
one. Like the queen
It was like
creative.
good girl creative, like, and then like,
Yeah. Everything.
so good. Okay. So this one is, I would need blank in order for my queen creative to be in charge.
Right.
So I feel we'll know more at the end of the exercise. I feel right now that in that blank would be, you know, if we could guarantee something would happen, or if, yeah, there's almost something about like if we could take away fear, if we could take
Yeah.
away what's unknown, if we could take away, um, then we would,
Permissions.
yeah, and we'll
Yeah.
just feel we'll know more at the end of the question than I do, right? We do right now. Okay, so
Yeah.
and it's almost like it's actually like it's trying to figure out the gap between the good girl creative and the queen creative.
Yeah.
Like what's in that gap? So I would need to know my business will be successful to let my rebel creative be in charge.
Okay. Well, I would need to know that someone is taking care of things to let my queen be in charge. I don't think she could be in charge if everything else was a shambles.
Beautiful, beautiful. I would need to feel the support and the approval of my kids and my partner for my rebel creative to be in charge.
Yes. Yeah, I want to say the same. Um, yeah, I would need, and I'm just gonna that like a tweak on that for me would be I would need to know that everything I do or don't do is valued, and I think maybe like I value it first before my queen is able to be in charge.
Beautiful, beautiful. I would need to know that things wouldn't fall apart. This is kind of what you said, that things wouldn't fall apart in the house because that would stress me out. That my kids would be emotionally supported because that would stress me out if I didn't think they were. I would need to know that things wouldn't fall apart for my rebel creative to be in charge.
Yes, yes. Um, I would need complete. Ooh, I don't know, actually. I don't want to put conditions on other people. I was going to say I would need to know that
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
but yeah, that my husband, my partner, is fully supportive, unconditionally for
Yeah.
my queen to be in charge.
Yes.
No
Yes.
ifs and buts.
Yeah, that's right. Um, I would need, I'm gonna leapfrog you. I would need my partner to be um, even more than approving and supportive, but enthusiastic and
Yes.
remind me
Yes.
of my rebel creative when I forget.
Ooh, I
You know,
love that.
rebel be in charge.
Love it. Love
Mm,
it.
yeah.
Um, I would need uh I would need like a court of sisters, like so a sisterhood and a community
Mm,
um,
yes.
to celebrate me, tend to me,
Mm,
support me, inspire me for my queen to be in charge.
yes. Love that. Love it. Love it.
Hmm.
Um, yes. And it's so interesting what's emerging from this question. It's different than what I thought, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Um, this is a phrase that I'm borrowing from this 4-week course with Kasha Urbaniak.
Hmm.
I would need phenomenal support for my
Yes.
rebel creative to be in charge.
Ooh,
Mm.
get goosebumps. The word phenomenal.
Uh,
Yeah.
phenomenal support on all the
Phenomenal
fronts,
support.
domestic
Yes.
front, child care, like emotional support, all the stuff.
Yeah. I almost feel like like you were saying, that feels like the real thread through, oh, hopefully the internet hasn't cut it. Yeah, thread through
Yep. No,
all of
I'm
our
still
responses so far.
okay.
It's just
Sorry,
lagged a bit.
I
There
lost
we
you
go.
for a second.
I'm here.
I'm here too.
Are we good?
Yay! Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. Um, okay. Phenomenal support. Yeah. I think that was the last
Love
part.
it.
Yeah.
Um, I would need, I would need to be, to have real faith. I think faith in myself and my abilities
Mm,
and faith in the universe. It's like a trusting, a knowing, a self-assuredness, which I have, but really like taking it up to the next level for my queen
mm,
to be in charge.
mm. Love it. That's
Hmm.
so awesome because I was just thinking of something that I think is kind of intertwined with that, which is I would need to be so aligned with how I want to work,
Mm,
so deeply obsessed and excited about my office, so passionate about designing my work and what I do to just fit me like the most gorgeous outfit that I have ever worn for
yes.
my rebel creative to be in charge. Hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love this process because I'm realizing like and this is what's so great about doing this with someone else is
Yeah.
when you say something, then I'm inspired. Like as you were talking, I felt like just rushes of pleasure. And then I
Yeah.
thought for my queen to, what was the phrase again? My queen would need to have buckets of pleasure and joy. Like she would need to be able to access joy regularly to be in
Yeah.
charge. She's not going to be a grumpy queen. She is like a radiant, like turned on queen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got.
So
Can you
your
hear? It
your Naomi
choppy.
Campbell phrase is like, I don't wake up for, my queen creative isn't in charge for anything less than buckets of joy and $1 million.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah. And I
I love
think,
it. T-shirts
yeah,
getting printed.
yeah, buckets of joy, buckets of pleasure, and $1 million.
Mm-hmm. And $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Although I do want to say, I
yeah.
want to caution myself from thinking that I can only step into my queen if I have those things. Because I
Yeah.
feel like I don't want to start saying to myself, well, unless I am like really happy and making lots of money, then my queen won't come out. I want to make that distinction for everyone watching too.
Yeah. So is there a fourth part that addresses,
Mm.
like, is there a fourth question or a fourth something that um I have a low battery now. So if I disappear, that's where I've gone.
Me
Because
too.
it's like
We might
we
disappear at the same time.
so perfect. So if we're like so we've the good girl is like where we are. The good
Hmm.
girl creative is where we are, knowing that we are, you know, in all the places, right? At any
Yes.
time.
Yep.
And the queen creative is like where we want to go.
Hmm.
And then in between is what we think we need to get there.
Yeah.
And some of that is true and some of it isn't true. Then I guess what would be fun is like to somehow have a fourth part that pulls out what is not true, or something about the distinction, right?
Yeah. Or something also about like what you can have, not what you can have, what's possible right now, the way
Yes.
things are, imperfectly in your queen or bad girl or rebel or whatever your word is for that sort of edge pushing version of your
Yeah, yeah.
creative.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's do um as something, maybe something like, as my queen creative, what's possible right now is boom.
Yeah. 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 Like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Okay, you start.
Okay.
Tiger.
What's so as my queen creative, what's possible right now is, I mean, totally possible for me to reach for joy and step into queen through joy and pleasure.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
Hmm.
Coco just said, where's the juice in the given moment? Yeah.
Nice.
Where's the juice? Yeah, what's possible for my rebel creative right now is just to talk way more about my ideas and my excitement and my enthusiasm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's possible,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally possible.
yeah.
Um, what's possible right now for my queen creative? Um, is to offload some of the things that I do. In fact, before I do them, is to talk about them so they're no longer invisible, and
Mm,
then to not feel fully responsible for them somehow, somehow, some way.
yeah. I mean, it's not about perfection, Joy. It's about,
Exactly.
yeah. Um, what's possible right now is for my rebel creative, for me to start my day off as my rebel creative somehow. I just
Mm.
start off the day with a very clear picture and taste and feeling of my identity as the rebel creative, and let everything
Hmm.
flow from that. So that is possible right now.
Yes,
Hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Um, what's possible right now for my queen creative is that I can have that T-shirt made, or at least print the sign, that
Yeah.
Naomi Campbell quote: "I don't get out of bed for less than."
Yes. Love it.
Yeah.
What's possible for me right now is to build a specific group of women who also want to be their queen creatives, rebel
Mm.
creatives, and start that support network right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I love that.
And you're in charge
Um,
of t-shirts.
and I'm what?
You're in charge of t-shirts.
Oh yeah. Okay. Done.
Done.
Um, let's see. I mean, what's possible for my queen creative right now is to rest more. When she's desiring rest, it is possible for me to rest. There's no one home, like, except for my husband. The kids are not here. I can rest. I just have to make it so.
Mm, love it.
Yes.
Um, holy shit, we just did some good stuff.
Yeah. This was fun too. I love doing
So
this.
fun.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so tell me, so just before we leave, tell me what you, let's just favorite frame it, or
Favorite
let's,
frame?
yeah, what did we love about it? What did we learn? Why was it cool, juicy?
Yeah. I mean, for me, definitely that transition, we talked about this earlier, but the transition from talking about our good girl into, our bad girl, or in my case, my queen creative, the juice that just started flowing when we dipped into that pool was like, oh. And I
Ah,
love the moment where you were talking about, I don't remember what it was exactly, but what your rebel creative would be doing. And I just was like, I literally wanted to lie down and
yeah,
just
yeah.
feel like it's just something so good. It just felt really good.
Felt so good.
Hmm.
Yeah, thank you. And for me also it felt so good. And there's something about ah, it's like not just clarity. Clarity is a part of it, but it's speaking words to deepest desires. It's speaking words
Hmm.
to imagination and what we imagine can happen. It's speaking words also to all of those beliefs. Like when you say stuff out loud,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's actually a belief that I have that I do not want, that I do
Hmm.
not want to have. So it was like juicy, and it was super clarifying, and it felt powerful to me because it
Yeah.
feels like, oh, actually, I basically have all the power.
Hmm. Yeah. I love that. It's incantation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have all the power right now.
Yeah. And
Decide
it
how.
felt, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go.
No, I was just going to say it felt, there was like a freedom to it. It felt
Yeah,
very freeing.
yeah,
Um, yeah. And then I think the other thing I noticed was how the last question was it the last question, like what we would need in order for our queen or rebel or bad girl to be in
yeah,
charge.
yeah.
That one felt trickier because then I think it's like going back into, oh, these are the things, and I think it's trickier for me because these are the things that I will want to change, and for me change is like, oh, it feels heavier and a bit stickier.
Right. Do you think that it would feel better if that question was placed somewhere else? Or does it create this, like, is it this nice up and
Hmm.
down, or you know, do you
Yeah,
feel
that's
that
a
it
good question. I definitely think the juiciest of all the questions was though just the what would my bad girl, what my queen creative
yeah,
be doing?
yeah, yeah.
For sure. That's the one where you're just like, ah,
So you know what, Joy? Maybe if we were doing this in a group, you
yeah.
know, always got my business head on, you could do with the time, you could have certain sections have lots of time so they
Mm-hmm.
get really juicy, and then
That's a good
other
idea.
sections have just have a tighter time container. So
Mm-hmm.
you spend time there in order to be aware and to know, but not too much time there because you really want to spend more time in like building up the brain wirings of the juicy stuff, right?
Yes. I
Yeah,
also think, just I got inspired for a second while you were talking, is that you could
yeah,
bring in pleasure tools for the stickier moments.
right.
So it could be like sensual things, whether it's something that you're eating, whether it's music, whether it's like a little bit of like hip circles, just to kind of keep it flowing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You could
Like
be
keep
like,
the turn on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. What was something that I said? I would need. Yeah, yeah, I love that idea. You could kind of make it funny and fun and light, right? Be like,
Light, yeah,
mom
playful.
need to be making so much money for my, like,
Exactly. More play. Yeah.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
think
yeah,
what can happen is that once you start thinking about what would need to change, then the mind gets in and it's like, oh, gears are turning. I need to do something. And it kind of brings us back into the like, I need to fix this.
got it.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? How about what if we change that third question instead of I would need, because
Hmm.
that feels now that it's become necessary.
Yep.
maybe the wording could be changed to something like, one of my beliefs is,
Yes.
like tying it into a belief that we have, and then we could finish that off. Also, what Kasha does on some of hers, I wonder if that's true.
Ah,
I believe that I would
I like
need,
that.
the total support of my partner in order to unleash my
Yes.
creative. I wonder if that's true.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that because I found myself saying stuff and I was like, is that true even? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm,
Right, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, hope.
Okay, so we need to change that. Yeah. Are you on your last battery? I am.
I can't see, but I feel like it's going to shut down any minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love you, Joy. Part 3.
Yes.
So good.
Boom. Part 3
Ah,
done. I feel like we need to dance out, but I don't know how to play music on Instagram Live. So,
ooh, that's beyond my.
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
wake up and learn how to dance on IG for less than $1 million. So sorry.
Exactly. Love you, Sophie. Yeah, exactly. We can dance without music.
Love you, Queen Creative.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Love you, Coco.